Yahya Sinwar, top leader of Hamas and architect of the October 7th massacre, is dead. It is a huge development in the war between Israel and Hamas, and undoubtedly the most significant since the war began. The streets of Tel Aviv filled with supporters of Israeli hostages looking to bring their loved ones home. Sinwar was at the top of Israel's most wanted list since the war began over a year ago and is considered Israel's Osama bin Laden. The military confirmed Sinwar's death after conducting DNA tests on a body among 3 militants killed in an operation in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke after Sinwar's death was confirmed, saying the war is not yet over.
I'm standing before you today to inform you that Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar has been eliminated, the person who committed the most terrible massacre in the history of our nation since the Holocaust, the mass murderer who murdered thousands of Israelis and kidnapped hundreds of our citizens, was eliminated today by our heroic soldiers. And today, as we promised to do, we settled the account with him. Today, evil has suffered a heavy blow, but the task before us is not yet complete.
In a statement, President Biden called the killing of Sinwar, quote, a good day for Israel, for the United States, and for the world. He also called it an opportunity to free Israeli hostages. Vice President Kamala Harris also weighed in on the death of Sinwar.
Today, I can only hope that the families of the victims of Hamas feel a sense and measure of relief.
The vice president added the death of Sinwar is an opportunity to finally end the war in Gaza. The death of Hamas leader is a significant moment in Israel's year-long offensive against the militant group. Several U.S. lawmakers are calling it a great victory.
This would be a major victory for Israel and a victory for the world. Yahya Sinwar is the Osama bin Laden of his time. He is solely responsible for the attacks of October 7th, getting 1,200 Israelis killed, many of them civilians.
Well, House Speaker Mike Johnson and others applauded the killing of the leader, stating Sinwar's life was the embodiment of evil and marked by hatred for all that is good in the world. His death brings hope for all those who seek to live in freedom and relief to Israelis that he has sought to oppress. And Mike Turner from Ohio says justice has been served to Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. He was the mastermind behind the horrific October 7th terrorist attack that killed more than 1,000 innocent Israeli men, women, and children. And for analysis, we turn now to Gaith Alamari, senior fellow at the Washington Institute and an expert on Arab-Israeli relations. Gaith, good to be with you as always. Let's talk about the significance of Yahya Sinwar's death to Israel and also the United States.
All right. Thank you very much. Look, I mean, this was a major development. Sinwar was the uncontested leader of Hamas. He enjoyed what no other Hamas leader enjoyed, which is, credibility both with Hamas's military wing and its political wing. He was the guy who was in charge of the day-to-day as well as the strategic operations of Hamas in Gaza and outside Gaza. And he was the main obstacle to reaching a hostage and a ceasefire deal, which is what the U.S. and Israel have been trying to do really since the beginning of this year. With his departure, in the short term, obviously, there will be a lot of instability and a lot of chaos, yet it's very unlikely that his successor will be able to take such a hard line as Sinwar did, particularly that his successor will likely come from the Hamas leadership that's based in Qatar, and they are more susceptible to pressure than Sinwar was.
Yeah, and I know you wrote about that today on X. What more do we know, Gaith, about the military strike that killed Sinwar, and how was Israel able to find him and eliminate him? Do you know?
I mean, we don't have full details yet, but from what I've seen so far, it seemed, frankly, more like an accident than a planned attack. I mean, Israel, just in context, the last few weeks has managed to pinpoint attack a lot of the Hezbollah leaders in Lebanon. In this particular case, it seems that a patrol stumbled upon him. There was a firefight, and he was killed. The Israelis knew the general area that he was in, but not his exact location, particularly that Hamas had built over the years a very extensive labyrinth of tunnels, and he was hiding there. When he surfaced, I think he was unlucky to stumble upon a Israeli patrol, and that was the end of him.
Yeah, you touched on the peace deal and also the hostages. Talk a little bit more about that and what Sinwar's death means in this process.
But first of all, Sinwar was the main obstacle to reaching a hostage deal. From his perspective, he felt the hostages were his strongest negotiating card, and he was unwilling to relinquish that. Now, with his death, things have changed. On the short term, I have to say I am worried. I'm worried that some of the lower-level Hamas militants who hold some of these hostages might kill some of them out of revenge or to send a message to Israel there's a cost. But in the longer term, I think the new leader will find himself, first of all, not in full control of those on the ground, and therefore unable to leverage the hostages, but also will be in a very weak position. At the end of the day, Sinwar was in some tunnel in Gaza, and no amount of external pressure could move him. The new leaders sitting in Qatar, in Doha, are dependent on that country, are open to Egyptian pressure. So the real challenge right now, or the opportunity rather, I would say, is for the United States working with Israel and with our allies in Egypt and in Qatar and elsewhere to basically start pushing the Hamas leadership to reach a deal. As you know, time is not on the hostages' side, and the sooner we get this kind of deal, not only will it be good for releasing the hostages, and that's a worthy cause in itself, but also that will be the prerequisite for reaching a ceasefire and ending this really tragic bloodshed that has impacted so many Palestinians and Israelis.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on. Always wonderful to get your perspective. We appreciate it.
Thank you.